What's happening, savages? This is Immortal Coil, your future minister of whiskey mysticism. Revolution is my name. It is Wednesday, October the 21st, 2020, 6:48 on the West Coast. And it is good to see you. Whether you are here now live with us, or if you're catching this on the replay, we bid you welcome. With me, as always, is my trusty Boilermaker, the gift of the gods, sweet, sweet nectar. So whatever it is you're drinking, lift it high and salud. Got a great show for you tonight here in the news of the weird, the savage perspective. The Fandom Menace show, where we go ahead and we take a look at some of the less overlooked topics and bring a little bit of that savage perspective with us. Joining me tonight, the most controversial, yes, sir.
It's not showing live on my side. That's sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good. It's okay. But joining us tonight is the most controversial actor in the Fandom Menace, the one, the only, love him or hate him, Black Angus Reviews. How are you doing tonight, sir?
All right, what's up?
Well, just sort of getting savage tonight. What is going on in the land of Black Angus?
Oh, just being red pilled as fuck, voting for Trump, early voting, #MAGA, and I'm shipping Stormlander. I think there needs to be more of a push. I totally get Raylos now that The Boys has come about and you have Stormlander. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and I see you're wearing your avatar. You gotta
he's my fucking tits.
Oh yeah, he's your fucking tits. Joining us tonight, looks like we got Random Brad Creator in the house. He is definitely one of the hardest working moderators. Recently just knighted, as you would, one of the Savage Immortals. He is in charge of making sure that the fuckery stays on its own lane in the live chat. So hail, Random Brad Creator. Here's to you. We're going to quick toast.
What are you drinking?
All right. We're going with a Boilermaker tonight. So I got Irish Death, and we're backing it with Buffalo Trace. It's a smooth little jaunt from, I think it's from your corner of the woods, actually. So, last week we had Kermit on, and he was drinking Coors Light out of a straw.
Hey, I can't fault him too much. I'm partially because of just money, ounce to dollar ratio. But it's pretty good, pleaser. I drink a lot of High Life.
Sure.
Standard.
High Life's all right.
I don't know if you got it out there, if you've ever seen it, but here in Ohio, in the Midwest, you got a brand called Leinenkugel. It's got like an Indian on the thing. I'm surprised they haven't been canceled yet. I guess they're not big enough to get canceled yet. But
I know, dude.
But yeah, they got all these shandies. You might think, wow, that's pretty gay. All these like fruit accented beers. No, dude, they're great. They're lagers. They got like a standard summer one, which is lemon. You got watermelon. The only one that's actually like heavy fruit is the Berry Weiss, but that is how you trick girls to drink real beers. Get them Berry Weiss because it tastes like, like some real fruity goodness, but it's a full hearty lager. My favorite, but I have to drink it in rations, is Grapefruit Shandy, and I say it because like it starts wearing your tongue raw, where all you get is that grapefruit flavor. But sure. I make poor man shandies. I just get whatever beer I got, usually High Life mixes well with 2 to 4 ounces of grapefruit per can. And so I got my poor man shandy. I mixed it with Modelo today because it's like, all right, I got a Mexican beer, and they usually do like lemon or lime. So like citrus, it's not too crazy. Let me try a grapefruit. I did like 4 or 5 ounces of grapefruit to this, and it's going pretty well.
Yeah. Well, I'm a good fan of the Corona Amber. I filmed a couple scenes for Rook out in the woods where I was drinking Corona and chopping up some wood, but he ended up not using it because I guess not enough people got back to him for his particular sketch. But right when he was putting it together, that's when Corona struck. So nobody could really go outside anyway. But I'm sure he's killing tomatoes somewhere. Well, right on, man. Before we get started, I wanted to show this article real brief from Cinema Blend. This is kind of like some feel good, touchy kind of stuff. Today would have been Carrie Fisher's birthday. So here's a picture of them committing incest. It's
hell yeah,
nice and quiet. I actually heard that for a minute there, back in 1977, they were at some party and they were sitting on a couch together and they started making out for like maybe 5-10 seconds and then they stopped.
There's no footage, damn it.
No, but then they stopped and they looked at each other and they were kind of like, okay, I guess that's enough. And then they just never did it again. Unlike Harrison Ford, who Carrie Fisher.
That could be a gender swap one.
I think so. It's like Harry Fisher or Harrison Ford, something like that.
So they made. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, well, they made the Beast with two backs in real life, and then I guess it was kind of taboo because Harrison Ford was married at the time.
Wait, I'm sorry, I've never heard that term.
You've never heard that?
That's hilarious. I'm thinking of like the Thing.
Yeah, it's all backs and elbows. That's what that thing looks like.
Can you share my screen when you're ready?
Here we go. What do we have here? Okay.
Yeah. So I actually have this on my wall. It's in the corner though, so it's right next to Meth Gator when you're looking in my office. When I'm showing my face, I got an autograph version of this. I didn't meet the guy, but it was at a store, so I swapped some toys for it. I was just like, "Fuck yeah!" And all the jokes, like her above her crotch, it says "Pet my Wookie," which I'm like, I'm a Bushman, so that's awesome. But yeah,
not a lot of them these days.
My philosophy is the only good Leia is a slave Leia. I could do without this fucking feminist bullshit. Fucking Princess General Leia, fuck off. Your character takes a fucking kamikaze nosedive as far as a feminist icon. Yeah, you can say she starts out like a single fiery bitch, but then she quickly succumbs to the alpha male and is just his side piece. That's all she is at the end of Star Wars.
Well, it's funny because I really think that Disney had plans to make the princess the Skywalker who fucking does what no other Skywalker could. Unfortunately, Carrie Fisher died. So they had to kind of like put together this piecemeal, not quite so good thing. And she was in a coma for most of it. And, like I think Leia Poppins was supposed to be our first glimpse at some force power that she had that we didn't know about. And then Luke was supposed to fuck off and die. And then Leia was going to come in and help Rey kill whoever the fuck was supposed to be killed.
Yeah, dude. The more I think about it, the more I realize, like, not just the like marketing of like General Leia. We're not like demeaning her as princess because making girls want to be princesses just makes them want to have babies for boys, for men. Not just that, but they like had to like remove her surgically through divorce or whatever, through estrangement from her husband, because he is the fucking alpha. You wouldn't like. She's only an addition to the alpha. She completes his like the goal,
right?
And so they had to remove. They had to totally emasculate any sell point for that character. So like we were due from the start and we didn't even really think it out. We might have been like, oh, they're divorced, but we didn't fucking think it out, dude. This was there from the very beginning with the finished product. Whatever the storyboard, whatever the spitballing in the editing room was beforehand, we were duped with the final product from the start. And it's I didn't, it literally just now kind of fully, I'm like, oh, General Leia, that's divorced from Alpha Male Harrison, and they just leave him doing same old, he goes nowhere. It's just like,
well, yeah, and you see that in the Lucasfilm writing team. So they, after Kylo Ren's descent to the big black dark side, Of course, his dad has to say, "Well, fuck this," and he leaves. And then Leia ends up hanging out with Admiral Purplehair, and they really exchange some longing looks and some tender fingertip touches and things that, you know, kind of insinuate she might have gone that way.
Yeah, no, I definitely picked up on that kind of subconsciously, but they didn't really push it, so I didn't really like hang on to that. But yeah, like just more and more, it's like very obvious Rey and Finn could have been the next, like, even though it was just for a moment for kind of political shit, it could have been like the next Uhura and Kirk, kind of thing. On top of just the kind of on-screen chemistry, but no, we can't have her attached to a man, like.
Nah. You can't do that. And then
I like Force Awakens. I like Rey, and I like how they salvaged her from Last Jedi in the final, where it's like she's a Palpatine. Makes sense with her power set. Okay, but they totally just do everything to emasculate the like norm.
They sure do. Random Brad says he hasn't watched The Rise of Skywalker. He can't do it. In fact, I think his Skywalker went flaccid and pulled back in a scared turtle kind of maneuver. I think that generally speaking, our whole Disney sequel trilogy experience was that, because it was so ill planned, and then like you're saying, it was such a boys are icky and they can't do anything right. And here comes Rey, and where has she been this whole time? She's like,
do it.
Yeah,
you can only do it when you take men out, when you put them on the sideline. That's the only way you can do it.
Right. And then we got that very at the very end that Finn might be force sensitive, but you didn't do anything with him. I get like, okay, he handled a lightsaber pretty well. You would think most stormtroopers would be trained with some sort of melee weapon.
Yeah, they even have that traitor guy, TR-8R.
Right. And then they send him to Casino Planet with Rose Tico. And then at the very end of the movie, he's like, I think I might feel the force too. And Rey's like, good for you. And then it's like,
yeah, everyone can. Like,
yeah, it's like, that's okay. Why don't you stay on Death Star Planet with your new black girlfriend?
Yeah, let's keep the blacks together. It's not
exactly.
It's not, the SJWs are so stupid. That's my biggest thing about the SJW shit of like the two-facedness of it is like, you hate diversity. It's like, yeah, I kind of hate diversity when you like shoehorn it in and prop it up, but then you make all of the colored people go off in their own useless side plot that doesn't affect the story. Like that epitomizes like their what is a political motive. Same with Grace Randolph. Like she's getting a lot of heat now for some of her crap coming at Chris Pratt and stuff, but it's always in her stuff with color and diversity. She's like, oh, it's so great. I think this would be a good Asian to cast. We need Asian. We just got to plug them in. We need here's a whiff of, here's like a little breeze of LGBTQ plus.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, but what if it sucks? It doesn't, like, you're just long-term hindering those people because you're not holding them to the same standards. So people are going to check out right away and be like, fuck, another Asian. Their movies suck, because they shoehorn them in without like actually caring.
Well, they don't make them real characters. And until you just said that, I hadn't really thought of it. Where like, okay, while the white people are out blowing stuff up in outer space, we want to take the black dude and the Asian chick and send them away and go find the Latin guy to help break open the jail, and then have them fight an evil white woman, and free some space horses. And then Finn gets mouth raped at the end. That is such a crazy arc,
Yeah, it's funny, dude, because people don't realize, and these guys are jumping on BLM and white feminists and shit. It's like, well, you can say all you want and be an ally. You're getting canceled with the white men, bitch. And black dudes, you're fucking next, because you think white men are toxic because of like the history of colonization. Black dudes, with their fucking rap music, how they objectify women in their culture with rap culture and shit and gangster stuff, that's the next on the list, dude. Just cancel white people, cancel white men, see what happens, see who's next. Black men.
Right. Well, and they're kind of waging a war on black men as well. You know, they want black men to be angry and victimized and feel like everybody's against them, and there's no and indeed, like, there's no social support for them. They basically, they have like the stereotypical image. Okay, like they have a bunch of kids and they, you know, they're walking around thugging it out, and you know, but Black Lives Matter, so we have somewhere to point that anger for political gains being financed outside of the country, right?
Yeah. Oh no, I thought you were going to go add on to that, so I was kind of like waiting.
Yeah. Well, we got plenty of that coming up here, but good catch, Random Brad. We have Black Angus's Meth Gator. He is working hard to get this project going on Indiegogo. Matter of fact, if you want to pull that up, Angus, I'll go ahead and throw that on for you. You could tell us a little bit about your project.
Sure. Yeah. Let me go to the campaign page. I'm doing pretty well, given this is very experimental, and like, sadly, I'm still pigeonholed as just a Star Wars channel or just like Phantom Menace. You know, YouTube, they don't like see me. People don't realize I've been Comicsgate since like it came to the EVS forefront with, you know, you boy and Cyberfrog. I was there back in those, you know, at the start. And I've always used Comicsgate as like Phantom Menace needs to be like Comicsgate. And, you know, like we were talking off screen, the stuff I'm getting into, it's like even more accentuating that of like Phantom Menace is becoming a cuck movement because you keep crying about the girlfriend or the wife that you lost, and you're wanting to like, how to say it, you're not adapting to the reality. The only film entity I've seen to any degree that is like Comicsgate that's in the right direction is Cinestate, and it's not hard to do. Like, you can't do sci-fi crazy shit unless you got a couple $1 million to do like something like Brightburn, which likely has James Gunn attached, so he can get the best bang for his buck for $7 million. But like, this is the plight. Is I love Star Wars, and I still buy merch and whatnot that, yeah, sure, probably goes to Disney, or someone I bought from eBay paid Disney indirectly for it, memorabilia, but it's for like original saga stuff, 1 through 6, mainly 1 through 3. I'm not like, I'll see new Star Wars stuff, I'll watch Mandalorian, it's okay, but I'm not like crusading anymore. I'll critique it, but I'm not crusading to save Star Wars, because it's like our media that we love, the established shit, it's already infested. We gotta let them die. Either through money or just popularity. It's unfortunately a big beta cuck movement to try to save this shit. You got to adapt to the reality at hand, and that is let it die. Make our own stuff. Make our own alternatives. You can't keep running to Chris Pratt. He's not going to be saved. You can save him today. His shit, his ilk is getting canceled in the long term. Oh, you pulled it up. Cool. Yeah. So this is my poster campaign. It's kind of cart before the horse. That's why I say it's experimental. This is kind of to get eyes on the project. Instead of asking for a GoFundMe to fund the project of making the comic with like paying the artist to, you know, draw what I've written, I'm trying to like get the money for something in return. You're getting some merch related to the main product, some, you know, art, some imagery, funding me, but getting something back. And also I'm building rapport as a fulfilling campaigner. So I'm only at, you know, 258, and thank you to those backers who have backed me and believed in me so far. I will fulfill by that due date of April, barring some financial catastrophe that just hinders everything. But, you know, I'm not going to touch that money. Anything I'm short on to produce the posters, it's just going to be overtime work, you know, which I can get. But yeah, I got these posters, 3 different artists, Vic King, Ari, and Isanetto Salza, an outside Comicsgate artist who I was very upfront with that I'm Comicsgate, both for his sake and for mine, to not have him backbite me or something. Any artist I contact, before I even get work, I make sure they know I am Comicsgate and that they could get grief for working with Comicsgate. And so you don't have to worry. There's a paper trail if they turn on us. it's going to be ultimately their ass on the line for turning on us in the first place because you chose to work with me full knowledge. And yeah, Isn't It was great. I am favoritistic to this piece just because of how detailed and
He is a fantastic artist. Holy shit.
Yeah, each
Where
poster.
Did you find him?
Facebook.
Okay.
Just looking at different artist pages. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Oh, you're fine.
But yeah, it's really simple. Like each poster is $15 plus shipping, or get all 4 for $40, or all 4 signed for $50. And those are at discount prices versus if you bought each one individually. I'll probably add these to my Teespring store in the future at some point if you want them on a shirt or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea
of this piece would make a great T-shirt, man. Or like I even see it like one of those fuzzy sort of like 70s felt posters with
Yeah, I mean it could be a default cover, honestly, for the comic, but I already got someone in mind for the cover. The idea of this, besides building rapport, was to also, hopefully, I was hoping to get profit to go into producing Meth Gator before the campaign, so you actually had some interior art in the cover. But I'll just self-fund those, and hopefully the comic campaign will go. But yeah, I got 10 days left. I'll get cashed out, I think, in like 2 weeks. And I'll just push the campaign again, start over, maybe tweak some things here and there, try to network a bit better, and just keep at it while I'm hammering out the rough draft and start whittling it down once I find an artist that I agree on with price and commission and all that.
Sure. Well, there you go, guys. His poster packs, $15 each, or $40 for all of them, and then $50 for his signature.
Yeah. Can you scroll down?
Yeah.
See the other ones. Yeah, so this one is by Vic King. It's got Meth Gator and Shelby the Hooker, his love interest in issue 1. And it's colored by Sketchy Raven from the Rags team. She did great work. Also, like some Conscape, but I'm specifically War Campaign. Of course, we got a bad rap always. Mm-hmm. So I actually, if you're in Conscape, I make sure you're cool working with War Campaigners. So there's that extra bit of interrogation, if you will, on my part, because it's like I'm not worried someone's gonna backbite me.
What's Meth Gator drinking on in this one?
I'm not. I haven't figured out what his taste is. Probably bourbon, because he's in the South. He's in Georgia, but I'm not sure exactly. I think bourbon's kind of easy to go on for it. So maybe we'll do like Scotch or something, or maybe Canadian like mixed whiskey. I like to drink that stuff. So
blend, yeah. Okay, now we have what is this? A redhead?
Yeah, I mean it's the same girl, but this is the art interpretation. Given it kind of makes sense given the references I gave him. Seems very much he channeled. What's her name? Christina Ricci from what's that movie? Black Snake Moan. That's
yeah.
I invest a lot in like white trash entertainment's what I call it. Like Black Snake Moan. Anything like Southern, Smokey and the Bandit, Dukes of Hazzard. I'm trying to bring those little elements to the world of Meth Gator and George, especially Smokey and Dukes of Hazzard, because Meth Gator and his surrogate father, Curtis Kuhn, they live as moonshiners. That's how they survive in moonshine out in the boonies and the swamps. And, Moonshine runs Dukes of Hazzard, and Smokey's running, Coors. So,
right on. Fucking Brad saying he loves that pick. Well, yeah, Brad, if you got a couple of extra bucks burning a hole in your pocket, go out and support Black Angus on this. Let's see. We'll scroll a little bit further down here.
Yeah, so this is a throw. This is a pinup he threw in. Same artist. This is full body. Shelby the Hooker, and he did great. It's funny, even though I am kind of particular to Isnetto's piece, because I love like traditional detailed comic pinup art. Or he's kind of an anime guy, but he's actually, I think, it's kind of hard to figure out Vic or him, but I kind of went at both of them at the same time. So they both were kind of instrumental in giving me references for future artists. But yeah, he did great with this. And
real quick, we got a Decepticon King watching Casper. Christina Ricci is in that as well. So yes, this piece is
Oh,
Christina Ricci inspired. Thanks
yeah.
for joining us, Decepticon King. All right, go ahead.
And yeah, if you scroll down a little bit more, there's a
Okay.
head sketch that I'll be throwing in. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to ship it because I was planning on sending everything in tubes, but then I'm like, will people be okay with me shipping a head sketch kind of, rolled in? Like you can flatten it and of course just put it in a book or something for a day or something, but
Mhm.
I don't know if that will offend collectors or whatnot, or if that will actually damage if it's like rolled with the comics. So
Maybe you should have an extra perk that's like, you get it rolled, but if you pay a little bit extra, you get you know, the portable iron that it can be stuck in.
yeah,
Well,
that's that piece as well as Vic King. And it's colored by Carla Tornielli of Grim Reaper and Witch Hunter, coming next week.
very cool. Well, so can you give us the basic, like, what can you tell us as a basic story for this guy?
Yeah, I've just been really busy, so I haven't updated this, but the stream is just kind of off the wall. Yeah, I'll join. But yeah, Meth Gator is, simply put, kind of TMNT meets Breaking Bad. It was inspired by the Red Gaze covering this kind of wacky story of meth gators in Tennessee. There was a drug bust, and I guess people were trying to flush their meth, so they put out a tweet saying, "Don't flush your meth, you'll make meth gators." And it had like a little week-long internet cult. And I instantly had this kind of Venom, character in mind of this, humanoid gator. But I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't like what's the story. I was stuck. I just had this image, but it kept nagging. So then I started thinking, all right, so it's a baby gator. It's born. There's meth heads. Their niche of making money to get a hit is not pillaging, but what do you call it? What's like the bad hunters?
Oh, bounty
Poaching.
hunters?
Poaching.
Oh, okay.
They're poaching gator eggs to sell them to leather shops, gator farms, restaurants to grow them and kill them, whatever. That's how they get their fix, is poaching gator nests in the swamps. And so they spill some meth on Meth Gator, and on the baby gator, and he becomes Meth Gator. He absorbs it subcutaneously through his skin, osmosis, I guess. And there's a whole story to the meth. That was the thing, is like, all right, if meth heads spill this meth that they're smoking, why isn't it changing them? Once I figured that out for the story, and it's going to be like a full 4-issue storyline of like the meth is pertinent, that's what kind of kicked off, like, this can be a real comic. This can be a real story. So yeah, that's what took off. Like, once I figured that problem out, kind of figured out that sci-fi science explanation to it, and kind of built it into the plot of like overarching storyline, that's what kind of made this take off. And like, let me put money into this. And I also want to shout out, logo guys never get credit, and I like to give them credit. Ryan Magus made this logo. It's based on the 1971 debut of Ghost Rider and Marvel Spotlight.
Nice.
5. I told him, hey, can you make this, but make it gatory? And he gave me this, and I literally gave him one edit to change the green gator to a black gator, and that's the edit. There is a gay Pride Month kind of tongue-in-cheek version to be like Meth Gator.
Okay.
And it was supposed to be month-long, but it's a really good logo, and Brian put a lot of edits in there because I was like, well, this looks good, but like it's not blending well. So he finally got it right, and it actually looks like a Wiggles logo, which is weird. Totally coincidental. But yeah,
it has that 90s kind of throwback look to it.
Yeah, but if you're an LGBT comic skater or comics fan, there's also logo merch for your specific gay tastes.
Very cool. See, we're very open-minded here in the fandom.
I want gay bucks. I want straight bucks. I want every buck.
Sweet. Well, yeah. So head on over there. Back Black Angus Reviews. It looks like he has about 10 days left, and help him bring this creation to life. I for one definitely want to see it. So let's wish him well. Well, thanks for sharing that. We're gonna get into this. I was kind of looking around, and I'm one of these dudes that look for patterns in news stories, and I saw this thing connected to the promotion of Joe Biden's presidential campaign, you know. And the thing that I thought was weird, so I have two different panels to show you that are kind of the same idea. But so this was just geez, the other day. The cast of the Avengers got together in support with got together with the Russo brothers and Kamala Harris in support of Joe Biden. And the whole thing was called Voters Assemble, where they're throwing their star power behind the Democratic presidential campaign. So that's one that I saw. And then I saw this other one here where multiple casts of different Star Trek shows got together again. This was 2 weeks ago, but they got together in support of Joe Biden. So you have the Avengers here and you have Star Trek here, and they're all saying, yeah, Joe Biden, Joe Biden. But the thing that strikes me is that they're not saying Joe Biden because he's the best choice. They're saying Joe Biden because fuck Donald Trump. That's my assessment. What do you think, Black Angle?
That's very apt, and it shows you who Democrats appeal to. They appeal to brain dead, vapid, like, oh, let me get my political information from stars who, in the back of their head, they're like, my paycheck's gonna be a lot better if Trump wins. And on top of it, they're like anti-capitalism and shit. Like, I love The Boys, and you'll see articles, especially in the Phantom Menace, they keep pushing like Bound into Comics, which is not a good website, because it's biased. It was meant to be like counter, let's say the truth. Now it's just let's appeal to our side, and so it's just become the exact flip of the coin to fake news and entertainment. So don't rely on them. You could, but I love The Boys. It's a great show. It kind of punches at everybody. I think it's just kind of like kind of got the South Park attitude. Like, yeah, they're liberals, but whatever. But there's a behind the scenes discussion series as well. Like, dig deep into the stuff and like the ideas of the show, and talk to the different actors and whatnot. And it's like totally what we've been hating, where it's like dogging on quote unquote fanboys and they're saying like, oh, you changed Stormfront to a girl, you're fucking woke, SJW, blah, 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 which actually was a smart thing to like storyline to make her a girl. But like the redhead in the show, the girl, it's like part of like the, not HR, but like, what do you call it when you have like polling or whatever? You get test audiences to like get a score for what you think will represent the rest of the population watching, that kind of stuff, where it's like, oh, you test better if you wear this slutty outfit instead of like this conservative one.
Sure.
That girl on the interview stuff, she's like, oh yeah, America, it talks a lot about American capitalism and corporate blah blah blah, and how like it's just so bad and boo-hoo. It's like, you work for Amazon, which is like huge. You've made the richest woman in the world now, I think, or one of the richest, because she divorced Jeff Bezos, who's like capitalism galore. He can do whatever he wants with his money, but like he makes money thanks to capitalism. You get a paycheck from this entity because of capitalism. So it's very two-faced. And these actors know it. They have agents who are like the most ruthless capitalists to get them the best deal for whatever job they got. It's so two-faced. That's what I keep coming back to. And for them to like try to jump on all these shows, people that's like currently famous or tangentially famous, whatever, like, hey, let's assemble. It shows you how desperate they are and who they're appealing to. They're appealing to brain dead people that get all their info from headlines shared on Twitter and Instagram. It's so funny because Trump isn't relying on any of this shit. He's got James Woods, maybe Gary Sinise, like actors that are just canceled or blacklisted or just not really doing anything anymore,
right,
to push this. And when your platform is F the other guy, you're not saying anything of value about your own candidate. That's the biggest thing is like, what is your position? It's like, fuck Trump. I'm going to go against everything him. Joe Biden even had a divide, like I'm surprised people didn't pick up on this, but like they're trying to demonize Trump, like, oh, his tax returns or whatever, his filings, $750 Fed income. It's like, well, one, he was campaigning those years and became president, so he's like out of his company. They're not even talking about that. But two, he's like, Trump's like, I paid this because of tax codes you and Obama instituted. I worked the system you made. He's like, yeah, I'm going to change them because of you. And it's like, oh, because of Trump, you're going to fuck other wealthy people that might even be contributing to you just because you want to jade that guy. That shows you the whole mindset of the left and Democrats. Democrats have become just a terrorist entity to America. They hate the country they're supposed to represent.
Well, and so I have two thoughts about that. And sorry, my German Shepherd's a little upset. I don't think she likes this much either. But so the idea that someone out there might be researching the topics and they're like, well, Joe Biden doesn't really make much sense. I'm kind of concerned for his mental health, and his son seems to be doing some shit with Russians, and I don't know. He likes to touch little girls and stuff. But you know what? The guy who pretends to be Captain America said he's okay, so I'm going to vote for him.
Yeah, I mean, comics are a literary art form. They're a literary and artistic art form, and you can say a lot with them, and you can have like a long form narrative with them. So it's very unique, aside from like novels. But like in the end, these people are playing cartoons. They're playing ideals that are successful thanks to American ideals. Like if like you ran comics through like Soviet Russia, they'd just be propaganda and they wouldn't last and they wouldn't sit in people's minds. They'd be like Nazi propaganda with Hitler being a knight or something for a crusade. Sure. They would just be something to talk about of like, this is an example of like brainwashing, not a testament to like the market saying we value this.
Even Superman Red Son.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even then, like Superman as a communist is still thriving for kind of American ideals, of goodness and stuff. He just is blinded by like, he's trying to make the paper communist idea work in life. And it's like, well, you look up how many people you fucked over by keeping this institution, and he comes to that realization. He dips out when he realizes all his errors. So it's a very American story still. But
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, but like in the end, they're playing American idealized, capitalist supported cartoons, and so it's like they're so vapid and stupid they don't even realize, and they're supporting like the same people who are like BLM are ultimately really pushing for Kamala because like trust me, they're going to try to use the 25th to get rid of Biden, or like he's just going to cancel out, dip out once he wins. Something like that's going to happen. This is really a Kamala presidency.
Oh yeah, you'd see his mental state deteriorate, or he would be physically unable, or something.
These people don't believe in anything. They just believe whatever corporate pushes down to them, because Kamala is exactly what they should be fighting against if they're BLM and stuff. She prosecuted fiercely because just to get wins and shit. She's, through the book, cruelly, you could argue, to, minuscule offenders to get, pad her stats and whatnot. She's the epitome of everything wrong that they hate about America. And I think even Trumpers be like, yeah, fuck her. Like, well, clearly I think we're saying fuck her, but like, she doesn't exemplify anything that any side really wants, but because she's got the D in blue and she's black, vote for her.
Right. And that's kind of what I thought the whole thing was. Like, they arranged to have the first female woman of color president.
It's like, this is the biggest thing. Women always chase shit that men have already done. We've had Obama as president for 2 terms in a predominantly white country. So like, you're just chasing, like this is the plight of women trying to do men shit. You're just always trying to be a man. You're always trying to do what men already do normally. There's nothing fucking special about you, Kamala.
Well, so, and my other thought about this is kind of the penultimate target for all the social engineering. So now that we're in your superheroes, and now that we're in your sci-fi franchises, let's use that to shape the political beliefs of the young people coming up and voting. So yeah, you like Star Trek kids, you like Jean-Luc, you like fucking Geordi, do you like the weirdos in Star Trek Discovery? Well, guess what? They all like Joe Biden. Hey, you like fucking the Incredible Hulk? You like Black Widow? Yeah. You like Ant-Man? Well, guess what? They all like Democrats. So that's why you should be one. Not because of anything they have to say or what their stance is or how it might affect your cities or your country. Because,
It's funny because in 2016 they did this. They had a bunch of Avengers people in this actor thing of like, go vote, and it was like in the army we say like we'll do like double tap with our foot, which is like hint hint for the answer. It's kind of like kindergarten, like get the message. But before it was still plausible deniability. We're not telling people to vote Democrat, just go vote. Now it's just like, nope. Showing our true colors. Vote Biden.
Yeah. And for no good reason. Just because you like this show. You like the Avengers, right? You like Star Trek, right? From the creators of Star Trek, from the creators of Avengers.
It's weird because like it's definitely a communist kind of push. One of the key film history films that everyone should watch if they're actually going to like understand film and like not a montage, which is essentially editing a narrative together with film. Battleship Potemkin is a celebration of the communist revolution in 1917, whatever, and it's about like it starts on like a battleship, and you have like the elite officers tied with like the religious, and you have like the destitute common sailor and stuff, and they like essentially have a mutiny for equality and better life and stuff, and some of them die for this fight, and it spills over onto the mainland, and they like take over like a city or a capital or something. It's like there's no real main actor, it's just a collective, and they paint a really good brush against the establishment before communism of like, look, they're killing women and children and blah blah blah. But even that, like, you had people like, it's a great propaganda film, and it came the people that made it were part of like the Moscow School of Film in Russia, which was the first film school, and the Nazis, Goebbels and whatnot, they learned propaganda from the Soviets. Mm-hmm. But what's weird is like those people all believed, in a majority, they all believed in this ideal. The East is different from the West, so they all believe in this ideal, and they fought and bled for it. You could argue they're trying to do that with like Antifa burning cities and all that, but like ultimately, it's just a bunch of like Twitter warriors and stuff crying this stuff because it's the right side of history. And no one's fighting. Like, this is why. This is the stuff that happens when you don't have a threat to your own country and your own like way of living. The prosperity we have, even as a poor person, because you can get government backing and support. If you're destitute, no one has to fight for anything. There's no work ethic, and there's no need for defense of it because we're such a superpower with so few men in our military. There's no threat to that well-being. That's the biggest reason why this shit's going on. But it's why it's going to fail, because none of these people will actually fight for it. They'll lay over and get ran over by China, or Mexico will outbreed us, or Muslims who are sympathetic or acquiescent or supportive of like the terrorist ideology will peaceful jihad and outbreed us and hop city to city and take over, or they'll just actually invade if they see the opportunity.
Well, and honestly, they're trying to engineer a race of not a race, a nation of people who are subservient and who don't do for themselves and are suckling off the teat of the fucking government. And we know what's best for you, so just bury your head in the sand and we'll take care of it for you. Here's some money. You don't minimum wage is like $100,000 a year, so you don't got to worry about shit. Just continue to crank the wheel and buy our shit.
Yeah, it's like I just wish these people would have like, I don't know, a state like Minnesota or Michigan become like Muslim ran and see how bad Trump's America is, So see how bad it is for you. You think like, oh, these states are being emboldened by Trump, and they're like Texas just did something in their Senate or their government to remove. I just tweeted something about it. It's like they're not. Social workers can refuse LGBTQ plus like work or whatever. They can refuse to work with them or something. Ultimately, it's because like that class is so protected that it's like you're going to get canceled legally and or just in culture because you refuse service or you think I'm not fit for the job or whatever the case is. There's something with that worker that's like, I can't work for this person, but it's called discrimination. And so they're going to like civil suit your ass. So this is really to protect workers from like either being ill-suited or like, I'm religious, I don't want to work with this because I'm against it, whatever the case. But people are freaking out. Well, you know what? Have like a Muslim takeover. They're not going to fucking cater to that shit at all. I think in Texas there was like some sex ed being pushed, and they're trying to push like in-depth knowledge about like gay sex or something like that, or dildos or something. And parents are freaking out, but they're like ignoring it. But then the Muslims made a fit, and they're like, "Okay, stop it." Like, yeah, because you
can't offend the Muslims.
You'll be beheaded like that guy in Paris if you offend those fuckers. So like they know who's like that's the thing about America, and like problem with Christians is like Christianity is very much like you'll get yours in the end. It's very passive, ultimately. And Antifa and stuff, they kind of have a model like Christianity, like Judeo-Christian thoughts. It's the same kind of model in certain ways, like sins of the father. You're born from white people who were successful because of conquest. You're bad because you're white. That's Adam. That's the sin of Adam on everyone. Same kind of idea. Different motives with it, but it's the same idea. And but like Islamic, like they'll fight for this shit, they'll die for this shit, and they know who's going to carry the big stick. They don't fuck with them because they know, we'll act like we're all kumbaya together because we're minorities in this country, but they know where not to step.
Well, and it's interesting. They've done studies, and religion and politics both use the same part of the brain, and it's mostly the reptile brain. So make of that what you will.
It's tribal, yeah.
It's tribal. It's your own like identity. It's like, oh, they're those things and we're this thing, so fuck them. They can't cross this line, or let them try that kind of shit. And it's, I don't count myself as religious, so watching people run around with different versions of the same doll, it's just dressed up in different clothes and shaken in a different language, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's trippy stuff. Yeah. Well, so 2 more stories. This one is particularly interesting to me. I don't know if you're a fan of late 80s, early 90s hip hop, but this guy, Ice Cube, he seems to be popping up everywhere just when you didn't ask for him. So this is the thing I saw today, which is going to be kind of the lead in to the big deal. But Eric Trump, Donald Trump's kid, he tweets out 2 great, courageous Americans. and here's Ice Cube and 50 Cent sitting there in Trump hats. And we have this big manipulated media thing. So obviously this is fucking photoshopped. It looks like they're probably at a basketball game or something, right?
Because they're black.
Because they're black. They're at the basketball game with the other blacks. Look at this black woman behind her. There's a bald black head right there. We have some black dreadlocks right here, and here's a blonde black guy right behind Mr. Cube's head.
Mr. Cube.
Yeah, Mr. Cube's head. So, and I don't know what possessed him to tweet this, because this looks like a shitty fucking Photoshop to me. But so the thing is that they're trying to peg Ice Cube as a definitive Trump supporter. So last week, was it last week? October 17th, Ice Cube went on with Chris Cuomo. I don't know why I have such a hard time saying that. And Chris Cuomo several times in the interview said, "Well, you said you weren't working with them. Why are you working with Trump now?" And he goes, "Well, I'm not working with Trump. He's just the one that answered my fucking call to black people plan, or I forget what he called it." So he spent most of the interview saying, "Look, I'm not with Trump," but you know, they kept on making him want to be that. And then that fucking tweet comes out, and now everybody's talking about Ice Cube for the first time since 1989. Or I don't know, when's that movie came out that he was
Straight
in?
Outta Compton.
Yeah.
Boys in the Hood.
Well, Boys in the Hood, but I think Straight Outta Compton was his last one, and that's at least 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah,
You know?
I think he was a producer and his kids in it. And then before that, he did Are We There Yet? And Triple X State of the Union.
Yeah, I actually liked that Triple X movie. It wasn't that bad, but
I saw it in theaters with my mom, but I don't know. I probably will never watch it again.
but it's strange. So both campaigns are so desperate to have an authentic voice of black people that they're willing to puppet them on stage like marionettes. And from what I saw, just Ice Cube wasn't interested in doing that. But he's also had some very strange political ideas in the past. So, as an Angus of color, does Ice Cube speak for you, for the people?
No, it's not. Like, this is the thing. Like, they're going, like, the game plan's fucking wrong from the start. You're like, we need black. And it's like, this collective bullshit is stupid. I'm from Oklahoma. I'm an atheist. I'm from the military. I live in Ohio now. I work blue collar factory jobs. This dude doesn't know anything about that. He might know tangentially someone from that, and like it might have influenced his perspective. But he's from the fucking hood, that's why he's NWA and all that, and Ice Cube and shit. He's got a totally different perspective and outlook on life, and he's elite. He's got money. He's come up rich. I would say making authentic art, but now being part of like just the general elite and out of touch. He doesn't represent or reflect me at all.
So he has a contract with Black America, which I don't see that they really put any of those details in this article. It seemed more like he was saying, "I'm not going to be your dancing motherfucker." From MWA to MAGA, Ice Cube takes some heat for working with the Trump administration. When 2 paragraphs up, I didn't run to go work with any campaign. Both campaigns contacted me. Both campaigns wanted to talk to me about the contract with Black America. And the only thing that I really remember him saying was that he thinks that there needs to be better police conduct. There needs to be opportunity for black people to have capital. And I forget what the other prong of that fork was. But.
Do you know, I don't know his name. I don't follow him because, some of his rhetoric gets in the Christian stuff I just don't buy into. There's a lot of overlap. I'm ex-Catholic, and so, I find myself as an atheist because I'm sort of still defending Catholicism and stuff, I'm not, like, one of those. That's why I haven't been in atheist, groups, because they just, everyone, leftist blue hair weirdos flock to that shit, and it just drowns me out. I can't have a conversation. I get canceled because I'm a Trumper. But there's this black. I think he's a preacher. He's at least there's a lot of Christian rhetoric tied to his ideology and everything. But he's a conservative guy. Can't remember his name, but he had this black girl on there. He was talking about college and generational wealth stuff, and we need black spaces and shit in colleges. Blah blah blah. Just reverse racist shit, going back to the '60s, and essentially canceling out white people from everything, which was the problem in '60s and before. Was blacks couldn't be anywhere. And he's talking about she's talking about generational wealth and stuff, and we need to fix this. And he's like, all right, so are your parents married? She's like, yeah. And it's like, what do they do? And blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay. And you're a first generation college attendee through this family. It's like, yeah. And it's like, well, when you say you're benefiting from generational wealth, And she just was like, you know, like, and it's like, that's the thing. It's like, it's got to start somewhere. Richard Sherman, for instance, or like someone like Marshawn Lynch, they're both from LA, like Compton and shit. They got people dead, you know, in their lives because of the toxic cycle of like, you know, hood Black America. And Richard Sherman, though, his dad, I think, is still a garbage truck guy, or maybe just recently retired from it. And because of that work ethic and being a family, Richard Sherman benefited from that. And now look at him. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's a 2-time Super Bowl attendee, 1-time champion with the Seahawks. And he's a Stanford graduate. He's a smart guy on the field and off. That's because of generational wealth his family built. It's got to start somewhere. It's got to start in the family. It's got to start in the home. You don't have, like, single mothers can do it, single fathers can do it, but this is the problem in Black America. They've been, I say we've been, but, you know, I grew up in Oklahoma and totally different, but Black people have been subjugated with the, you know, Democrat plantation since LBJ. You know, things are actually coming up for Black people in America despite segregation, and the civil rights movement and affirmative action actually undercut everything. So Democrats really didn't help anything. You know, the market will change on its own. Larry Elder talked about this. There's like, and I was in Chicago as a kid. Black people didn't go to Little Italy and eat because the Italians hated blacks and they'd spit in our food. So we didn't go there. But things changed. They want our money now, so they act nicer. It naturally changed at least social order in the public between races, naturally. That's how it's got to change. You know, when you institute political shit to enforce and, you know, force change, it makes resentment. That's why you got this, like, you know, the Klan, the South, and this racist feeling that people have looking at the South. It's because you literally force people to, like, no, they're equal and you got to accept it. When it was a 300-400 year way of life of that's my livestock, you know. I went to the store and bought him, you know. Like, now you say you can vote like me. That makes you angry, especially when people died over this fight. You know, it's got to start in the home. It's got to start organically. None of this government shit from Trump or Biden is going to fix it. It's got to start from Black people themselves, and they got to do it themselves. They're at a disadvantage because it's so institutionalized. I learned this in housing. I took a housing class when I was in college, and it had a liberal slant, but it had a lot of truth to it, despite whatever that slant is. And it talked about, like, these housing initiatives and shit, and how, like, housing used to be really racist, and that's where you get, like, suburbs in, like, the 50s and stuff becoming white, the white flight and all that from cities. But, like, it's not any different now, but it's with businesses and banks. If a Kroger wants to put a shop, or a Walmart wants to shop in a Black neighborhood in, like, these Democrat-run shithole cities with the hoods and all that, most of these people don't have cars, or they carpool, whatever. They share cars. They got to use, you know, metro, public transportation to get around to these places. They don't necessarily have reliable transportation, and because of the crime rates and shit, the interest rates on the loans for the people to finance putting in these shops to make employment for people is astronomical. They're disincentivized because of the crime rates and shit. Like, it's got to, like, it'll stop when you stop killing each other, when you stop gangbanging and slinging dope and shit, and having fatherless homes that generates that population to be gangbanging and slinging coke and, or, you know, crack and whatnot. And that I don't know how it changes. Oh, crap, we lost Immortal.
Sorry, I hit the wrong button. I was trying to unmute myself, but I removed myself from the show. So for just a second, it was a Black Angus show. But no, I was sitting here kind of like reading through the article, and it's all like, you know, this problem in Black America, blah, blah, blah. And then 8 white titties right there. Blah, 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 blah. So, you know, it's kind of like CNN has this mixed message where, yes, they're corporate rag, but they're trying to present themselves as legit news. You know, hey, look, we got fucking Ice Cube, but then Ice Cube was invited back, but then he was disinvited, and it kind of reminds me, and not to say Ice Cube is doing it, but how they're trying to find some, like, official Black person to speak to Black people about what the parties want. And it kind of reminds me of like the shit that like Jesse Jackson does and Al Sharpton. And again, not that Ice Cube does that, but that's kind of how they wanted to position him. So they can say, hey, look, kids, you know, you like the rap shit. Well, this rap fucking dude's ready to talk. Except he got out there and he said, like, I didn't say that shit. I'm saying this.
That's probably the problem too, is like the stars that will fit the narrative for the Biden camp, the leftist shit, are generally not going to be classic looking people. Like probably classiest looking guy you got is probably like John Legend, you know, that's got some fame currently. You know, the like I would say American looking people, just like, you know, suit and tie or, you know, dress in heels, whatever, that's on the right. And so, like, you know, that's why Biden went on a show with like Cardi B or one of those, Megan Thee Stallion, whatever the fuck, and she's a fucking extrovert, which is fine. I support sex work. I'm pro capitalism, and thoughts have figured out the game in capitalism with their bodies. That's fine, but it's like this is going to speak to like Middle America, which is the swing states. It's not going to speak to general Pennsylvanians outside of Philly. It's not going to speak to people outside of Columbus and Ohio. That's 2 states there. Wisconsin, Minnesota. It's practically Canada, dude. Like, you know, they're, you know, I don't mean Canada like Trudeau shit, but it's like, that's like North country, like white people and stuff.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Farmers and
lots of serial killers.
Dead industries because of Democrats and shit that have run out to fucking China and Africa and whatnot else. Rust Belt and all that. Like, who are you appealing to?
Well, CNN being the respectable news source is, I found this so funny, and I've been waiting to talk about this. Hey, really, New Yorker spins. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Let me share this to you so you can share it.
Sure.
I love this dude. We got to talk about this. I don't know if you follow these people.
Let's see, who are these guys?
This is the Babylon Bee, and they make like purposely, you know, obvious bad like photoshops, but they're so funny.
So it's the one guy at the Biden rally.
Yeah, and like I've actually read some of their articles, and it's funny, like the detail they go in. Like they've done one where it's like protesters burn effigy of love into the neighborhood, viewed from the sky to show their like unity or something shit like that. Where it's like this is how backwards shit is. But like, it's funny, Babylon Bee, they're so on the nose with their satire because they're speaking truth with the comedy of like how clown world this shit is from the left. I don't even think of these guys necessarily Trumpers or right wingers, but they just are common sense and they see reality. And so I was watching, I didn't know they had a channel, but they were talking about like some of their articles have been fact checked by USA Today and Snopes and shit. Because I guess they're so worried people are so dumb, or that it's such like a red pill kind of common sense joke that it's like, oh, we gotta stop this, you know. Like they did one where it's like Ninth Circuit Court overturns Ruth Bader Ginsburg death.
Holy shit.
They did one where it's like CNN buys washing machine to help spin the news, and they're like, CNN has not bought a washing machine that spins the news. It's like, well, no shit, it's an abstract idea. Like, are you so dense? You know, this is the world we're in, where they got to fact check comedy.
Well, so I wanted to go into this thing where it says the New Yorker has suspended reporter Jeffrey Toobin for masturbating on a Zoom video chat between members of the New Yorker WNYC radio last week. Toobin says he did not realize the video was on. Okay, so he said, embarrassingly stupid mistake. My fucking screen is blanking out. Hang on, let me see if I can reload it.
Maybe accidentally unshared or something.
I know. Well, like as soon as he starts masturbating, that's when shit goes to hell. Okay, I'll probably just have to reload it. But so basically, the dude was jacking off. He jacked off. He got caught, and now he's paying the consequences. He had to apologize to his wife and all kinds of shit for jacking off. Yeah.
You know, I don't know if it's true, but I saw some on Twitter where it's like, I thought I hit the mute button, and then someone's like, "How loud is your dick?" Like,
Right. Oh, dude. And so I was talking to my girlfriend about it. It's like, okay, you literally have 23 hours, the whole rest of the day, to jack off as much as you want.
you know, it's funny. People are in the comments saying, "Oh, like how perverted and gross, blah blah blah." And it's like, if you're jacking off, even if you turn your camera off, you're a perv, blah blah blah. It's like, I remember I was on a stream we were talking about Game of Thrones, and like somehow it came up that like the hooker with Tyrion was like a porn star or something. And I was like, me and my mic, I was like looking into like, oh fuck. So like, you know, I've had those moments, but like, yeah, my camera's off and I'm muted. I'm just like, fuck, like she's not like hot, but like she can take a dick. Like,
Okay, is this working now? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just the word masturbate. Nobody's comfortable with that. I made an embarrassingly stupid mistake, believing I was off camera. He was jacking off camera. I I apologize to my wife, my family, my friends, my coworkers. I believed I was not visible on Zoom. I thought no one on the Zoom call could see me. I thought I had muted the Zoom video. So, okay, he did not think he was visible. Nobody could see him, and it's muted. So therefore, it's okay to jack off a video conference call, right? Dude, we got random Brad rolling, man. This is what happens in America. I know you're safe in Australia, but shit, man. We
oh yeah,
gotta,
they just banned hentai imports.
oh, did they?
Yeah.
Sorry, Brad. Man, I don't know where you're gonna see naked Sailor Moon now. That sucks. Two people who were on the call told Vice separately that the call was an election simulation featuring many of the New Yorkers' biggest stars. Jane Mayer was playing establishment Republicans. Evan Osnos was Joe Biden. Jelani Cobb, Jelani, I don't know, establishment Democrats. Masha Gessen played Donald Trump. Andrew Marantz was the far right. Sue Haplern was left-wing Democrats. Dexter Filkins was the military. Jeffrey Toobin was playing the courts. But he was also playing the skin flute at the same time. Because let's face it, when you're in a conference call where they're simulating people like this, it's highly arousing.
What is this guy's job?
So he was on the New Yorker, but he also is a political commentator for CNN.
Okay.
Where a lot of times he likes to go on and discuss the appropriateness of, Trump's this and that. Whatever Trump is trying to do, he's like, well, that's not appropriate. That is not an appropriate avenue for our president to be. Meanwhile,
now anything he says, people are going to comment. It's like, aren't you guy jacked off on a conference call?
Totally, you can't say you can't dispute the president's actions when your hand is covered in spit and you're furiously beating it. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, I got a confession. I don't know if I told any of my bro friends about this, but one time my wife, I was in bed with her and I was watching like the replay highlights of like I don't know if it was like when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. It might have been the year before, but like we like creamed Dallas, and I just had to start going to town. And she's like, "Are you jacking off to like football?" I'm like, "No, I'm not jacking off to the players. I am bi, but it's like I don't see guys that way. Generally speaking, it was just like I'm such a fan of my team, and we cream my most hated team that like I was just like I have to celebrate,
The 21 guns.
What's funny is like this idea. It's like, okay, it's one of two ways. Either he was so turned on by this election talks, he's so invested in this stuff, or more likely, he's like, this, like, who gives a fuck? Trump's gonna win. Let me just go rub one out. I got better things to do.
Well, and here's my theory: is I don't know how many like boring fucking work type calls you've had to do where there's like 20 people or even like 5 or 10. I think he thought that he hit mute and he was like looking on a different device, like probably his phone or a different computer, and there's some like whatever the fuck he's into going on there, and he's just like, yeah, whatever, blah 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 over here, and what the fuck's going on over here? And then somebody's like, Jeff, I can see your cock, man. What the fuck are you doing?
Oh, let me push my camera up. Like,
Exactly. He's like, oops. But okay, so both people, these sources for the Vice, who spoke on the condition of anonymity in order to speak freely, noted that it was unclear how much each person saw. Both said that they saw Tubin jerking off.
I think I shared a tweet. I don't know if it's just doctored or if it's the actual, like, someone screen captured before it went away or whatever. But there's this picture of like the conference call, and there's like this like fat guy naked with like a micro penis.
Holy shit. So, okay, the two sources described a juncture in the election stimulation when there was a strategy session and the Democrats and Republicans went into respective breakout rooms for about 10 minutes. And at this point, they said it seemed like Tubin was on a second video call. The sources said that when the groups returned from their breakout rooms, Tubin lowered the camera, and the people on the call said that they could see Tubin touching his penis. Tubin then left the call. Moments later, he called back in, seemingly unaware of what his colleagues had been able to see, and the simulation continued. Now, okay, your last name is Tubin, and you're going to get caught touching your dick?
Dude, you know what there needs to be? There needs to be I'm calling it. Within the week, there's going to be a Babylon Bee article of Jeffrey Tubin starts OnlyFans account.
Somebody needs to Photoshop that, have him just be sitting there with his smug fucking looking face, but have like this big fat hairy body and a micro dick. Dude.
Fuck Trump.
Fuck No, but it just goes to show, like, in this COVID society, you can't go to work. You can't, so you might as well sit there and take the conference call. But so many people are getting fired over shit like this. Like, I read this thing where there was like it was like a weather girl or some kind of thing, and she was sitting there giving the forecast from her office, her place at home, and like her husband was like fucking naked in the bathroom behind her. So full bush, full fucking sausage. You got the balls, all that shit, and she didn't know, and they didn't shut the door. But I mean, that should be like basic fucking camera-y. Check out your background,
Yeah. Know your surroundings. Like, I'm in my office, I just got a wall behind me with art, and my camera is tilted up. So even if I'm if I'm pulling a Tubin, you're not gonna see it.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm on my back porch. There ain't nothing back there, and definitely my shit's not pointed at my lap.
Yeah, see, this is the game we get with me. You get like neck up.
Okay, there you go. What up?
Anyway, let me see what it's like if I stand up. Yeah, you get my shirt. So
yeah. Oh, well, there you have it. So the moral of the story tonight, folks: don't touch your dick if you're on a phone call, a video conference call, especially if you are simulating election events. Otherwise you're going to end up on vice.com with 10 paragraphs about your dick. So there you go.
I'm waiting for Pornhub to get into the news market. Like, honestly, that's like the next thing is like not just like hot newscaster taken on the desk by Anchor, whatever, like the simulated bullshit. But I'm waiting for them. Like, that's like the next thing to do is like just 24-hour porn news of like Yeah, like, oh man, there's this policy. Oh yeah, fuck me harder. Like,
It's the OnlyFans news stream, something like that.
dude, that's the next thing, dude.
Hmm.
I'm waiting for it.
That should be a thing in Meth Gator. That should be like the sexy fucking action news. Well, right on, Angus. I want to thank you for coming out tonight. I want to thank both my viewers, which are probably Random Brad and Decepticon King. Thanks for coming out. And then for everybody watching this on the replay, want to go ahead and hold the glasses high one last time, whatever you're drinking. Salud. Definitely not a shandy. But go ahead and check out Black Angus, his Meth Gator campaign. There's only 10 days left to have that. And we will talk to you next time, Savages. Good night.